Welcome to Lined Musings. We are going to go through the Canon Selphy today. I just wanted to show you how I use this guy. It's a recent purchase for me and I have really enjoyed using it. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Now I generally use this to print from my phone directly, and so that's what I'll be showing you in today's video. Which is all plugged in now. We just have to pop in this paper feeder. It opens on the side that says open, just like so. And this is where you would pop in your photo paper. So I've already got some sheets in here, and you open up this front compartment and slot it in. And you'll know it's been installed correctly because you'll feel a satisfying click. Now I'm just going to open up the Canon Selphy app on my phone. Just note that I am using an Android phone, but I can't imagine the app would be too different on an iPhone. And this is my default setup. I always use postcard paper. I generally do the glossy print finish, sometimes semi-gloss and satin, and the number of images can vary, but usually 8, and I usually don't optimize the image when printing. Press OK, and on the next screen I click Display Web Services. I'll just move my phone out of the way so you don't see anything I don't want you to see. Okay, and so it's just loaded up all of the photos in my Google Photos, and I'm going to select some images from my Europe trip. I do find it takes a little bit of time to load, but it does get there eventually. And I have been printing a whole bunch of photos for my travel journal, so I'm just going to scroll and find where I'm up to. And I'm going to select 8 images. You can see the image count on the bottom left-hand corner here. When I'm selecting the photos, I always think about which ones I would want in a larger format, because this is the 8 image format, which prints them out relatively small. So always keep that in mind. And if you make a mistake, you can always uncheck it, just like so. And once you're happy with your selection, press OK, and it will start processing. And it will, again, take a little bit of time. I feel like with most of these steps there is a little bit of waiting time, but it's all worth it in the end. I'll just turn on the Canon Selphy. I'm not sure if that's why it's taking so long to process, but I guess we'll see with the next few goes. From here I select the photo and I rotate and crop. I select fit, and then I zoom in a little to make it easier to keep within the border lines. Press OK, and then I adjust the contrast and saturation by 1 notch for contrast and 2 notches for saturation. I only adjust the brightness if it's necessary. Otherwise, click OK, and then I do the same steps for the next photo. If the crop to fit works out well, I don't do any adjustments and I press OK. And from here it's kind of rinse and repeat, and if I feel the need to adjust the brightness, contrast and saturation differently, then I do that as well. If I want to swap out one of the photos, I click on the photo and change and go back into my Google Photos. And from here I'll just select the image that I want to replace it with. So I've selected another image from the Berlin Wall, and I'll just click OK. It shouldn't take too long, and it will just replace the image that was there before. And I can continue doing the adjustments as I mentioned before. And once I'm happy with all of my changes, I press the print button. And this is where the magic happens. It sends the images to the printer, and you'll start to see it working when it feeds the paper into the machine. and you'll get a little message saying that all images have been sent. I actually find that part kind of fun to watch. But yeah, this is the final result, and this was with the glossy print, and I really like the finish of that print setting. That's how vibrant the photos ended up coming out. From here, I just discard the edits and start again with a new set of photos. This time I'm going to select semi-gloss and 4 images. And I'm not sure how this semi-gloss will show in the camera, but we'll give it a red hot shot. So these are the 4 images I've selected, and I've done my adjustments and just sending it to print. Let's see how these come out. Okay, so this is semi-gloss. I personally find it to be less vibrant, and the semi-gloss has a really strange texture. It is, I guess, semi-gloss, but it's not like the semi-gloss that you would get from a photo lab, you know? Nevertheless, it is still a very smooth finish, less vibrant, and less of a glossy finish as you would expect. Next up, I'm gonna give Satin a go, and I'm gonna do 2 images on the postcard size. Generally, with the larger images, I like to either select an image that has our faces in it, or something that is a landscape image, or something with kind of more intricate details. Okay, so I have selected my 2 photos and done my adjustments, and these are going to print. So this is the satin finish. I hope you can see it, but it is a little bit more matte. Can you see it there? Quite nice. Again, it does have a strange kind of, I'm not sure how to explain it. It has a strange finish. It doesn't, again, it's not like the matte that you will get from a photo lab. This is my preferred finish, which is the glossy one. I just, feel like the images are so much more vibrant on that one, but it could just be a mental thing. I guess there's also other options you can do with this Canon Selphy. I generally do it using my phone, but you can also pop a memory card in here or a USB flash drive and navigate through the screen to do your prints. But I can't really speak to that because I generally don't use this option. And that's because as much as this screen is quite functional, I don't think that being able to do those adjustments on the screen here is going to be as good as doing it on your phone. So we're all done with printing with the Canon Selphy. I hope that was helpful for you to see the different kinds of photo layouts and the different finishes on the photo paper, and also how I do my adjustments. I'm going to pop this guy away now, and I'm going to show you how I cut up these photos, the different options I have in preparation for popping them into my journal. My camera is going to time out, so just a second. Okay, so on the sides there are these perforated edges. I just fold them and pull them right off, and you'll find that it does leave behind this kind of rough edge. It's not too obvious when you paste the photos into your journals or use the photos in whatever other way you like to use them, but just something to note, I guess. Okay, so now I've removed those white edges and I am going to cut up these photos. So I'll just show you a few options I have. This one here is a guillotine. It's a rather small one and a cheap one I just got from Craft. I find this one is okay for the bigger photos, but for the small ones it can get quite fidgety. Okay, so with this photo you can see there is a little bit of that white line still remaining, and I want to cut that off, but I find that this guillotine is not the best for doing this because there's this plastic contraption that's usually used to hold things in place, but it just gets really fidgety. So I prefer to use other tools to do this, which I will show you in just a second. This here is a paper trimmer. It's from Amazon, but there's also another brand called Fiskars, which I think this is a knockoff of, but this one does a perfectly good job. You line up the photo and trim it using the blade. Yeah, so it can get quite precise. I really enjoy using this one, and it always garners good results. Sometimes even with this one, it'll maybe not cut as perfectly as intended, but it's really easy to just trim off a really thin sliver of that paper. So you can see here, really quite thin. Okay, last but not least, you can always use the good old cutting mat, a ruler and a Stanley knife. I also find that, you know, if you have a steady hand, this is a really good solution for cutting up the photos. So I just line up the photos with the lines on the cutting mat and then cut through the photo with my Stanley knife. Excuse my grotty little Stanley knife. It is all I currently have at my desk. So yeah, that is pretty simple and pretty basic, but it does the job. And the last contraption that I wanted to show you is this corner rounder, and I think I found this one on eBay and I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's been really handy. So there's 3 different sizes, if you can see them here. From the back, gives you a good indication of the size of the corners. This is just not focusing today. There we go. So that's that. Now in terms of the preferred sizes for the corners, for the larger photos I like to use the 7mm rounder, and I just do that to all 4 corners. And for the images that sit on the 8 photo grid, I use the 4mm size. And that's how it looks. Just me with my Cinnabon. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you is how to reduce the thickness of the photos. So I just grab the corner and I peel it back, and I would say it reduces the thickness of the photos by half. So helps to reduce bulk in your journals, but without jeopardizing the quality of the photo. It does make it a little bit curved, but once you paste it down you can't really tell anyway. So I don't know if you can see that through the camera, but there's a significant width difference there, and it really does make a difference with the bulk in the journals. And that's a little hack that my friend Anna showed me. Thank you, Anna, if you're watching. That brings us to the end of the video. It was a different one today. I hope you've learned something or been introduced to something new. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to hear more about stationery and journals. Until next time, bye!